All right, what is up, YouTube world? It's been a while since I've done a video other than videos of bands that I record. But this is a new thing I'm doing. It's going to be songs that are just getting old and boring and you've heard them too damn much. I was going to do 10 at a time, but I'm trying to get more videos up and see if I can get more likes. So I'm going to do about 5 at a time. And these are going to be a little bit of everything. Just, let's see. This one is all country, and it's all over the map with country. But anyways, there's just certain songs after a while that are just, you get so tired of, and I'm drinking Canadian Mist. Jack Daniels are probably mad, and Coke. I want to try something different, so I was going to try Woodford, but that was too expensive. But anyways, and I'm wearing my Carson Jeffrey hat. Jeffrey Rodeo, and Sonny Sweeney. It has nothing to do with that. But anyways, so like I said, there's so many songs out there. You've heard so many times. You're just like, and that's one reason I don't care for like popular radio stations, or not radio stations, but just songs that get way too popular, because like it just gets old after a while. You play the same song, 20 times a day or whatever. Like Nickelback's Rockstar. I actually quit listening to Nickelback for a long time just because I hated that fucking song. I like it, but I got just so, not only that song, but that whole album, which is a very good album. And I'll probably do a album review on the album one day, but I mean, when that album hit, I can't remember, For All the Right Reasons, or whatever that album was called, I can't remember. It was just, overplayed, and that's just what I don't like, is you get a song that is just overplayed so much. But, and there's not millions, but probably hundreds of songs that just old. After a while, you're just like, oh my gosh. First one, this is a recent one. Tennessee Whiskey. I love the song. I loved it back when George Jones and David Allan Coe did it. Tennessee Whiskey is a country song written by Dean Dillon and Linda Hargrove. David Allan Coe recorded it on the same Tennessee Whiskey album in 1981, and it hit number 77. George Jones recorded it 2 years later in 1983 on his Shine On album, and it reached number 2. And then years later, as y'all probably know, Chris Stapleton recorded it. And it just went over, and just blew up all over the radio. I don't think it was actually on his 2015. I think it came out as a single, not a but a song on Traveler in 2015. His debut album as a solo artist. He used to play in a bluegrass band, and for the life of me, I can't think of it. The Still Drivers. But anyways, but what made it great and I'm not knocking any of these songs down. You just, so after so many years, you're like, and so many times. But Chris Stapleton took the chorus of Etta James's I'd Rather Go Blind and mixed it with that, put an R&B rhythm and blues twist on that album. I mean, it's a great song. I keep saying album, but song. It is a great song. I'm just burnt out on it. Because I go to bars a lot and watch local artists. And 10 times out of 10, someone's going to request that song. You know, it's just like, it's like, I think some of the performers are getting tired of that song too. Like I said, it's not a great song, but you know, I mean, it is a great song, but it just gets old. You hear it so many nights in a bar, so many times on the radio, you know. And then I think what really made it popular, not only with Chris Stapleton coming back and doing his version with an R&B twist with Etta James's "I'd Rather Go Blind," but him and Justin Timberlake, which, if you don't know who Justin Timberlake is, I need some whiskey. Justin Timberlake was a lead, one of the members of NSYNC, a late 90s pop group that blew up. They did like 3 albums. Great pop sensation, great singer. I'd love to see him. I've never seen him. They both performed it on the CMAs one year. It might have been 2015. It didn't say. But anyways, that's one that's just getting old, you know. Second one on this list, I'm doing 5 at a time. I've got 10 or 11 right now, but I'm going to do 5 in each video. So this is part 1. Number 2, Copperhead Road by Steve Earle. I love this song. Along with the Nickelback album, and Rockstar, I didn't listen to Steve Earle for a long time. Honestly, to be completely honest, it was the only song I liked by Steve Earle for a long time. And then when I really started getting into the songwriting perspective of the business, like Cody Canada is my favorite, Crotchet and Ragweed, and I really started studying like the songwriting part of the music business, I really got deep into Steve Earle. But it was all, Steve Earle wrote it by himself. It was on his 3rd album of the same title, Copperhead Road. In 1988, it peaked at number 10. It was on the US rock mainstream, and it had 1.1 million digital downloads. Before digital, there was CDs, and you had like only like 2 singles, usually just 1 single that you would have when a new album would come out from your favorite artist, and you had to wait for those other 9, 10 songs, you know. And there was a line dance to it. It's Earl's best chart topper, but there was a line dance with it, and like it's the same thing with the Tennessee Whiskey. It just got overplayed. Like I said, there was a dance to it in the early 90s, late 80s. Like I said, it's a great song. I love Steve Earle. I've seen Steve Earle in concert. It was so cool. He actually did that album because it was a 30th anniversary of that album, I think. And he did that album front to back for us, plus a shitload more. One of the best live concerts I've ever been to. Third one, and probably people can get mad at me over this one, Folsom Prison Blues. I love the song, but I'm so freaking tired of it. Every band that I see at least does this every night. Every night that I go out and watch a local band. It was written by Johnny Cash in 1953. Recorded 2 years later in 1955 on his debut studio album, dubbed Johnny Cash with his hot and blue guitar. He borrowed the idea from Gordon Jenkins, and I don't know who, I just found this out today, song called Crescent City Blues. And it has the train songs that was popular, like, you know, Jimmy Rogers, and then the prison songs, you know, which Cash was really famous for. I wish I would have got to see Johnny Cash in concert live. I never did. He died in 2003 before I really started going to concerts. But like, it's just one of them that I just played over and over. Even on the jukebox, someone will play it. I'm like, you know, let me see. Although like I said, it was borrowed from Gordon Jenkins, 1953, Crescent City Blues. I'm going to look that up too. I've never heard that song. I've never heard of Gordon Jenkins either. Rolling Stones in 2014 ranked it as the 51st song out of 100 greatest country songs. I mean, it's a great song, don't get me wrong. And I love it when, because like I said, I go to bars a lot. I go to venues a lot where they have local bands. And when a band does their own version of it and not just copies it, I like it a lot better, you know. But like I said, yeah, Folsom Prison Blues, and then of course, everybody should know this song, Achy Breaky Heart. True story. I went and seen Billy Ray Cyrus. I can't remember what year it was. It was right before he fell off the wagon for a little bit. My whole family went and seen Billy Ray Cyrus in Branson, Missouri, at one of the theaters. I can't remember what theater it was, but he showed up 2.5 hours late. I kid you not. My Mimi, which is my grandma, we call her Mimi, was so fucking mad because, you know, she paid good money to see him. He came 2.5, 3 hours late, did 3 songs and left. Signed like 3 or 4 autographs and left. I'm not kidding you. But what it was is he was waiting for another band that originally did this song to sing it with them. It was, hang on, let me figure it out. It was written by Don Von Tress. First released a year before he did it in 1991 by the Marcy Brothers. And it was called Don't Tell My Heart. But that's what he was waiting on, I think. And the plane was late or something wrong with the plane. But he didn't tell anybody that. You'd figure. But I think I might have, I don't know. Because I know with these venues, I've learned, I love the music business and how stuff works and stuff. I just, you know, absorb it. But artists only have so much time to play their music. And once they do, they start getting fined for it. So that might have been it. I don't know. But like I said, the Marcy Brothers did it a year before. It was on Billy Ray Cyrus's debut album, Some Gave All. That is a great album. One of my favorite songs of all time is on that album. Could Have Been Me. And then Some Gave All, which was a very good song they play for the military. The song was the first song for triple platinum status in Australia. It was a big crossover hit, pop hit. It reached number 4 on the charts. First single to ever be certified platinum. I mean, it was a big thing during 1992. You couldn't go nowhere. It also had a line dance with it, along with Copperhead Road. It was Billy Ray Cyrus's biggest song up until Old Town Road with Lil Nas X, which was like 27 years later. And we're going to get to the last one, Freebird. Sorry for all you Leonard Skinner fans out there, but that song's old as hell too. I mean, I love the song, but it's just getting old, like all the other ones, and this whole thing. It was written by Alan Collins and Ronnie Van Zant. Now, if you didn't know anything about, of course, like I said, research a bunch of music shit all the time. What I loved about Ronnie Van Zant was he never wrote one lyric down. Never. According to his interviews and stuff that I've read, it was all up in here. He never wrote anything down. He always memorized it. His idea was, or not philosophy, but his thing was, if you can't memorize it, it's not worth remembering. So I couldn't do that if I had to. But it was, of course, Leonard Skinner recorded on their debut album, Pronounced Leonard Skinner. Another fun fact for y'all, which I'm sure everybody or diehard Leonard Skinner fans know this. They actually got the name for the band from a gym teacher that kicked him out of school for having long hair. Back in the 60s, you know, when they were going to school, long hair was not a thing. And they had one guy, a teacher named Leonard Skinner. It was actually Leonard Skinner without the D. And they were smart enough at the time when they got the band together to change it to where they wouldn't get sued. Eminem did the same thing when he came up with Eminem instead of M&M, because there was a certain candy company that could have sued him. He wrote it EMINEM. But anyways, that's another thing. I know I go off tangents all the time. But what was funny, years later, the actual gym teacher, they're playing down in Florida or somewhere. I think it might have been Florida, because that's where they're from, Jacksonville, Florida area. But he actually introduced the band at a concert one time, which I thought was pretty cool, you know, because they had a lot of beef, rap stuff I'm talking about, with them, you know, years earlier with the long hair thing. But another thing is, too, that I think it was the last song they recorded on Pronounced Leonard Skinner, and the guys that were doing the recording said, it's too long, it'll never work. And Ronnie said, come here with me. Pretty much kicked them out, and they recorded it themselves, you know, at the Hell House. I think that's what it was called. The studio where they went, there's no air conditioner. I mean, they worked their asses off to get where they were. I would have loved to know, like, where they would be today. You know, if their plane wouldn't have, if their plane wouldn't have crashed and all that, you know, what they would have been if they would have gotten further. I mean, because they were already the biggest band. One of the biggest bands in the world, you know, from like 73 to 77, 4 years. I mean, you don't get that very often. You know, I remember one interview or something I was watching years ago. And I think they went on before The Who. It was some concert they were doing. And the guys from The Who's like, we got to step up our fucking game, because that shit is awesome. It entered at number 8 on Guitar World's 100 Greatest Guitar Solos. I mean, and it's their signature song. And the live album, or the live version, sorry, I've been drinking a little bit. Live version is actually over 14 minutes. And I think the actual studio version is like 11 minutes. But that's it for this video. This is part 1 of songs that are getting old, 5 songs that are getting old. Excuse me. And I will see y'all later. Also, please subscribe to Expiring Music Writer. Please share, like, comment, suggest. I'll also have a video up of 10 songs that you may not know that were covers. So check on that one too. And I'll see y'all later.